Hey, what's going on, everyone? I just wanted to show this lithium battery setup that I designed for my car. Audio setup really quickly because I know there are a lot of videos that I saw out there that had these headway cells that they were using in different configurations and things like that. But I didn't see a lot of setups quite like this where you were able to use a standard battery box. And that's kind of what I was looking for with my application with the 38120 headway cells that a lot of people have been using for their car audio bills to replace their standard lead acid or AGM battery cells. So I just wanted to show this really quickly because I thought it might be helpful for people out there that are thinking about different designs and configurations that they might want to use for their battery bills. And so what I ended up doing here was creating a 6 parallel 4 series uh, lithium battery setup that gives me 48 amp hours at 12.8 volts. Um, so you can see the cells that are in parallel here going horizontally across. Each of these battery cells is an 8 amp hour capacity. So when you add these up, you get up to 48. You get to your 48 amp hour capacity with these 6 cells in parallel here. And then from there, I took it and going down vertically, you've got them in series to be able to get to your 12.8 voltage because each of these cells is rated at 3.2 volts. So when you start with the first row, that's a 3.2 volt row. Then you go to the next row, you add another 3.2 volts. That gets you to 6.4. Then the next row is 9.6, and then the next row is 12.8. Um, so thought this was a really good setup just because I was looking for something that I could fit into one of these standard battery box sizes that you can get from any of your big box retail stores. I believe this is a Group 34 battery box bill, battery box size. So you can definitely look that up. I'll also have a link in the description to where you can purchase that yourself too, in case you're looking to do something similar like this. And then I did a couple other things too that I hadn't seen a lot of people doing in their setups. But, just some of the more common things. You can see the bus bars here. These are aluminum bus bars that I ended up fabricating using, just a circular drill. You can probably use a jigsaw drill or something like that to cut the bus bars up. But these came in like really long bus bars, and then I just ended up cutting them up to size so that they could fit 6 cells all the way across. And then you can see in the middle pack here that I've got the 2 long bus bars going across, but then I've also got the bars connecting across to connect these cells together and stuff. But you can see here I've got the Cap1 tape on here too, just to protect against any potential short circuits, things like that. Just because I'm not going to be using these packs or anything to disconnect or connect the terminals and stuff like that together. Everything's already connected on here, so I don't need to touch this part at all. And then the next thing that you can see here over on your left hand side, this is the BMS. This is a daily BMS that I ended up using for the battery management and whatnot, which I thought was really important to have just to avoid any potential damage and things like that. This is a 100 amp BMS, and to be honest, I probably didn't get a size that was large enough because I noticed that it's not quite delivering the full, discharge capacity that I'm looking for, like when I'm playing the music in my car. So I probably should have went up to a 250 amp discharge. That's just me. I was probably being a little cheap because I wanted the Bluetooth capability, but didn't want to pay double the price. So This does have Bluetooth monitoring capability, so I can just connect it to my phone to see the voltage for each of the uh, the the packs in series, which is really nice. Which what I think is a really nice feature to use. And then what you probably won't see when you do hook a BMS up, this is a little bit different because typically you don't have this cable here going from your negative on your battery pack to your ground on your car. But I decided to put this here to bypass the BMS, just because I wasn't getting the full output from the battery pack, because the BMS was limiting the discharge capability there. So I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing this, but this is just something I did to be able to bypass the BMS so I can get more get more capacity out of the out of the battery cells. And then the next thing I want to show you is the heat sensor that I have on here, and the heat pack, to basically keep the battery warm when it's really cold outside. You want to bump your music, but it's below freezing. So the one thing that I kept hearing about with these cells is you can't use them below freezing because you're going to damage them. And so I wanted to make sure that I had some sort of workaround for that issue during the winter time, when I still want to be able to utilize my battery system. And so ended up getting this heat pack here, and this actually, I think you can move the wires out of the way a little bit. So yeah, you can see this little orange rectangular piece here. This is actually a heater that turns on with this temperature control relay that's over here on the left side. Turns on when the relay senses that the temperature is below freezing, and this will actually warm up this entire pack. And I was really surprised that this was all you needed to do that, but it gets the job done really well. Haven't had any issues so far with using it, but that's a great way to still be able to utilize your battery setup, your battery system, when the weather's pretty cold outside and things like that. But also just keep in mind too, if you do decide to use a temperature relay, you also have to have an additional relay that is hooked up outside of the battery pack, just to make sure that it turns on only when the car or the amp is turned on. So I actually just ran the remote sensor from my amp up to the additional relay that I had to hook up to get this temperature relay to work, so that this relay is only turning on when the car is on, or when the when the amplifier is on, and not staying on when I turn when the car is off and things like that. But works really good. And then I can actually show the inside of the top of the battery too. I think you can see that a little bit. Here, where I've got my negative terminals up here, my positive terminal right here, and then I've also got a terminal down here that's just for the temperature relay. So yeah, pretty cool design. I'm really happy with it so far. But this was just something that I wanted to show to you all, in case you're thinking about ideas for how you want to hook up your Headway 38120 cells. And I think in total I ended up using 24 cells that was needed to have this configuration. Like I said, no issues so far with it. But if you want to add more cells, you can always do that. You just won't be able to use this battery size box. You'll probably have to get something custom made in order to utilize that. But anyways, definitely like if you enjoyed this, if you found this helpful. I really appreciate it. And if I get enough likes, I'll do an additional video just kind of showing the setup in my car with the Bluetooth hookup and everything like that for you guys. So thanks again, and enjoy. Take care.